and welcome to the very first episode, you guys, of Behind the Scenes of Old Cove. You guys excited? I'm happy to dive in and chat.
I think I'm more nervous than excited.
Why? What are you nervous about?
Why? Because I'll get in trouble, I'm sure. And then we'll spend 15 minutes just arguing about how I'm the Tom Holland of the Old Cove universe.
Well, you are. You're always giving things away before everybody else knows them. Everybody knows all they need to do is ply you with one drink, and then they can get anything they want out of you.
Please,
The easiest date.
Yeah, I am. I guess easy just runs in the family.
Well, speaking of which, say hi to Mom.
My mom would like to say she's not easy. She can't say that about her son, but
Well, I love your mom. She's welcome to join us anytime she ever wants to come and sit in as a guest because
I will let her know.
She's a hoot. She sat in on our very first record for Old Cove, didn't she?
Oh, she did. She was there on the side. I was like, shh, Mom, shh.
I kept asking Mom, I was like, which take do you think it is? Do you think it's this one or this one?
Well, she laughed more at the second take. So
yeah, exactly. So the first episode of this little podcast series that we're doing that's sort of behind the scenes, I wanted to call the writer's room because I really wanted us to get together and talk about the writing for season 2. Because for season, there's a lot of differences between season 1 and season 2. So in season 1, obviously the episodes were a lot shorter. We had this idea that we were going to create something called snackable content, right? Which were these really short little snack size episodes that were 3 to 4 minutes long. They were easy to write. They were easy to edit. They were easy to distribute and do all of this stuff. And then what we quickly found out by like the second or third episode is everybody was like, I want more. So this is not enough. I need more.
It was a good problem to have.
Exactly. And
it's too long.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think coming into season 2, we decided, okay, let's go longer and sort of match what Aaron's doing over on Tomorrow's a New Day and sort of match that runtime and sort of what's happening over there. And then, lo and behold, the strikes hit. And so that just threw a wrench into everything for us. So while we're not a union show, a lot of us here do work in the industry and are very supportive of our industry counterparts. And so we decided that we were going to put the brakes on season 2 and be very supportive of our writers and our actors and all the strikes and everything that were happening across the industry. So I guess my first question that I love to talk about is what do you guys think? What's your opinion on the impact that the industry strikes had on the writing and the production schedule rather for Old Cove, especially season 2?
Well, I think it was disappointing for me in the sense that I was invited to join as a writer for season 2, and so I was really anxious and excited to sink my teeth into it all. And then I had to sit on my hands for a bit, but I knew we'd get there eventually. But it was more of like a very, very selfish reason, right? Like, oh, I just wanted to join in on the fun. But here we are, and it's fun.
And that's a very big point, is that we did expand the behind the scenes crew a little bit for season 2. Aaron, do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Well, not only did we bring on another writer, we brought on another producer.
Hi, Cynthia,
who has been
wonderful. Cynthia,
keeping us organized, on schedule. That's what we needed.
and more than anything, when there's a creative, I don't want to call it difference, I want to say creative choice on the table, and we don't know which one we like more, Cynthia is our tiebreaker. We go to Cynthia and it's like, which one is the best way for us to go out with?
Oh no, I was going to say, it's funny, we're an odd number, but we need a tiebreaker.
So take that for what you will.
Most of the time we like the same. We're like, oh, we like both of these, and all three of us will like both of them. Like, okay, where's Cynthia?
Yeah. Which one? All right. What do you think? You're the seasoned veteran among all of us. Jesus, I'm stumbling all over my words. You tell us what's the best way forward. And she's been great that way.
Absolutely. Absolute added treasure to the team. And I think on that note too, the fun thing is, you know, in my experience of getting to work with both of you in this capacity, is that we don't bring egos to the table. So that's oftentimes why we're like, we love all these ideas. And that's really where Cynthia comes into play.
Even some of the bad ones, we're like, we love this idea, and then we actually think about it and go,
well, I'm going to say, I don't think there are any bad ideas. There's just some reason why they don't work, right? Like maybe it's a storyline point that's going to pay off down the road. Maybe it's something we already previously did that we're not thinking about. Whatever it is, I don't know that we've ever. I haven't, in my opinion, seen anything that any of you guys have ever brought that I was like, well, this is just fucking awful. I always thought it was great. It was just like whenever I had a note on something, it was like, I love this, but I don't know. I kind of saw it going this way because we have to get here, and that was sort of my thought process on it. So
there was one idea we had that I don't think we said it was good, but as we think back to it, no, it would have redirected the entire show.
Well, we'll call you the Old Cove Babbler, whereas Gregory is the chronicler. You can be the Old Cove Babbler. Go ahead and tell us what that idea was, because I think you're right. It's pretty fucking laughable. Sorry, I don't know if I can say.
Am I allowed to release this kind of information, or will I get punished?
Oh,
well, you
good
probably
question.
Get punished. You'll probably get punished, but in a good way.
I'll just say it involved a clone.
Oh, lots.
We
and
were
lots
going to
of
go
clones, the baby
very
clones.
sci-fi. Yes. And we were all very genuinely excited about this direction for like a good week and a half, until we're like, wait.
I was all in on it until we did the first read through with the script, and I heard it out loud, and then I was like, "Oh, I don't think that's right." So it's like,
yes,
so.
that was the only story. That's why I was like, Rick, you lied. There has been one storyline that God did.
You're right. I stand corrected. Then
we would have had to have a Dallas season. Was it 9 or 10 where Bobby wakes up from a dream?
Exactly.
Right.
I was just about to say, did anybody do an out loud table read of the weather machine from General Hospital?
Probably not.
Which time? Because they've done that storyline twice now.
Oh no, that's some crazy ones, let me tell you. So, what do you guys think, though? Were there any changes or rewrites? Well, I think we just touched on that, I guess, that were directly affected by the strike or the delay. In your opinion, I mean,
yes.
Aside from the baby clones and all that,
us continue to get pushed back, change some things when it comes to people's personal lives, that we had to restructure certain things. I'm not going to go into those details because it happens. Happened on Tomorrow's a New Day, but we seem to always. The strike was done, and then something personal would happen. So we had to find a way to be respectful to our wonderful talent, but also find a way to keep the show going. And that's been a challenge that I really enjoyed this season. Because not everyone can do that.
I will say, too, one thing, although you did kind of stand down on Tomorrow's a New Day as well during the strikes, but yes. I think that the delay, because one of the things I've been adamant about, especially in season 2, are crossovers between the two, because Tomorrow's a New Day and Old Cove exist in the same universe. Tomorrow's a New Day was created first, and then Old Cove is a spinoff of that. And although they're two different story, like worlds of people and doing different things and all that, I really want to cross them over as much as we possibly can. And so being mindful of where you are with Tomorrow's a New Day and how we make those crossovers make sense, which there's been, I'm going to be the babbler for a second. I know there's been one. I'm not sure where we are when this goes out, but there's at least 2, and I know that there's a major one coming.
Well, we had Greg come over to Old Cove, so that was a big one, that are connecting the universes in a different way. And I will say, I have a challenge writing for Greg in Old Cove that I don't have in Tomorrow's New Day, and it's because he knows all the characters in Tomorrow's a New Day. He doesn't know all these characters. Like
that sounds like a good challenge though, because I think
I'm not saying it's not a good challenge. It's taking some getting used to, because I'm like, how would Lewis respond to what Quentin's doing when technically he would have never known this boy?
And
Well, as a
so I'm gonna let you
spirit,
talk
he
to
can.
that, because I love how you're marrying up. I love how you're marrying up Lewis and Quentin and all of this stuff. So I'm gonna let you talk to that.
Well, real quick on the Lewis note, I think while that challenge is very real, I've been sort of viewing it from the point of view of he's a spirit now. He can wander everywhere he wants to and find out whatever he wants. So in that way, he almost has an omnipotent, all-knowing kind of eye to it as well. But it's fun. I really love. I almost will write Lewis as how I would respond to some of these scenarios as he's going through, especially when it comes to the character of Quentin, who is just insanely over the top, insanely self-driven and nothing else. But that's been fun. And I think, on that note too, I think the industry delay with the strike also gave us that opportunity to sort of sit with the vibrant cast that Aaron created for Old Cove and really flesh out each individual character a little bit more, bring more depth to everyone beyond the introduction in season 1. So I think that's been incredible to sort of sink teeth into.
I think that's a solid point, because I think after the strikes were over, it took us a little while to kind of get back up on our feet and running, but it's not like we were just sitting around and twiddling our thumbs or, whatever. I think there's a lot of new approaches that went into how we were going to approach season 2, in terms of making the storylines longer, in terms of how we connect them back into Tomorrow's a New Day, and thinking through further storylines into more seasons forward. And I think that's a lot of the behind the scenes. That's why I wanted to really do this podcast, because there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that a lot of people don't always get to know, right? And so to know that we've really thought this through and we have a plan. It's not like we're just writing episode to episode. We have a solid plan as to where these characters are going multiple seasons down the road now. And I'm so excited.
I know, it's funny. I'm just like, I can't wait till we get to the end of season 3.
Right.
I'm like, hold up.
I can't wait till we get to the end of season 2, because that season 2 finale. Woo!
Well, it's
Woo! Yes.
It's exciting to know you're excited for the future.
Yeah.
Just like,
I mean, when we were, I'll harken back to when we were kind of putting our heads together for that finale you just mentioned, Rick. And I remember us really already starting to talk about season 3 in that moment. And it was just so thrilling to be like, yeah, there's that excitement of closing out the second season, but like, all right, when do we get to work on the next? It's super exciting. Yeah. And I think that excitement, we're feeling that with the whole cast as well, which is just really, it's thrilling.
I do think
it's a
with
good group to be part of. And go ahead, Aaron. I'm sorry.
The strike worked for us in a lot of ways, because had we not paused, we wouldn't have come up with these new characters that we have coming, that you haven't met some of them just yet, or storylines that had we started soon when we could have.
Easy, Aaron. Aaron.
Season 2 would have been very different. Season 2 would have been very different.
I totally agree with that.
It would have been.
Solid point.
Like, some stories were set, but there were some things where we had to like pivot.
And the
best pivot ever.
Yes. I mean, and that's the thing, right? Is when you get mad, I think that's the beauty of it for me, in terms of writing and producing and doing all of this stuff, is that you run into these walls, right? You run into these roadblocks, and you're like, how the hell do we get around this? And then we come up with the most creative and ingenious ways in which we deal with that, and it just spawns off into all this other stuff, and that's what probably my favorite part of the whole creative process.
Well, speaking of favorite parts, I was wondering, I know this is a slippery slope question for Aaron, I'm sure, but for what we can reveal so far, what would you gentlemen say is your favorite part?
Maybe Aaron shouldn't answer
development on the horizon. Yeah, maybe not. But yeah, your favorite, maybe character development or a hint of a story on the horizon.
Mine is going to be Quentin. I won't. That's all I'm going to say. Quentin has got some wonderful, funny things coming up, and some maybe twists and turns that you weren't expecting that I'm excited to explore.
I think the one for me, and probably by the time this goes out, it will have already been revealed because I think it's in not the one coming up, but the one after. But it's Oliver and things happening with Oliver down the road, like revelations with Oliver and his backstory. And that to me was one of those happy accidents that, like, well, I feel like we need to throw a bomb into this, right? We need to upset the apple cart a little bit. And that just kind of came out of left field. And I was like, love this. And I love the new direction that it takes and what it means for everything. And that's.
You mean Quentin wasn't enough? Quentin wasn't enough of that for Oliver's world?
No, I mean, Quentin.
Seriously.
Quentin certainly turned things upside down for Oliver, but like what's coming for Oliver is just like I'm very excited for.
I would say go ahead, Aaron.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I think one thing too is that little bit of time we had, I got to marinate with the actors' voices a little more and hear them interact with the other casts, that now when I write towards their strengths.
And I'm gonna let you make your point, Scott, but I want to pick up on this real quick because Aaron, you that's a great point because you have come and said many times when we said, "Oh, I want to do this, this, and this," and you're like, I'm not hearing that with the actor and their performance and their voice and all, and you've had very strong and very definite opinions about that, and I love that. So, yeah.
Well, even when it comes to Quentin, there are things I'm just like, Quentin would totally do this, but he wouldn't take it this far. And it's also because we know his backstory too, where we're like, okay, it'll make sense why when this revelation comes out.
Backstory. Yes. But Scott, get back to your point. We don't want to skip over you. What were you going to say?
Oh, no problem. No, I was just going to say for season 2, I always get excited, even as a viewer of long-running series, starting to marry different people together in scenes together that you wouldn't have expected to be in scenes together, or seeing, folks meet one another. That to me has been one of the more exciting parts about season 2. It's just more of that interplay between the characters and the wonderful talent we have. It's a blast.
And there's a crossover scene coming up between Quentin and someone else. Well, I guess we could say it's not really a spoiler, is it? What do you guys think? Should I keep it quiet?
I don't think it's a spoiler. It might make folks excited to hear about this. Yeah.
Then do it. Go for it. This is the one I'm most excited for. What do you call her?
If you are a fan of Tomorrow.
Oh, no, not that. No, that is a spoiler. I'm not the one with the nickname.
It wasn't me. Yay.
No, that is a major spoiler. No one knows she's coming. I'm talking about the one with the nickname.
Well, now you took away out the cast. You said she. Now they know. Thanks, Rick. Thanks for spoiling it, Rick. Way to go, Rick. No, I'm just
fine. Go ahead. I don't care. Let's do it.
No,
I don't think she even knows, though, does she?
No. That's
let's not say it yet.
You tell the actors that their characters are doing this and going to get to interact with this person now, and they're like, "Oh my god, I love it! I can't wait." Like, we recorded, this is Tomorrow's New Day. Jenny and Richard had a scene together, and Chantal was so excited. She's like, "We've got to record this in person. I want to," through video. She's like, "My scene, I never really get to interact with these two. I want to do it as like a full scene." And I was like, "You got it." Like, I loved it. And it's fun. So I'm excited for more of our Tomorrow's New Day people to come on.
And I'd say what's
so the one I'm talking about, Scott, is when Quentin arrives in someone's office and has a nickname for her.
Oh, yes. But that's not a crossover.
Sorry,
but
maybe I misspoke. So that's on me. I apologize. Well, fine. If you want to say who's crossing over, I don't care.
no, I do.
No. That's okay. That's okay. Yeah, no, we want people
want
to
it to
be
be like,
on
I
the
want
edge
people
of
to
their
go,
seat to watch
Alright.
the finale.
So by the way, folks, this was all planned. We did all of this just to wet your whistle and to pepper. And I'm kidding. I totally fucked that up, and that's on me. So Aaron, you can have this moment.
No, we're writing it, and I'm super excited to even start writing it. Like, I can't wait for these two characters to.
I mean, I even texted you guys, and I was like, I want to ship these two next. These are my super couple people, like super whatever they are to each other. The way that they come together is amazing, amazing. Like all three words.
It's not just going to change. It's going to change a lot more lives in Tomorrow's New Day than it does in Old Cove, and that's what's interesting. Is that this character is here? But no, I can't wait. I'm excited.
Okay. Well, I think it's amazing because we talk about writing for this amazing talent, but what I love about the talent that we have and our kind of the way we work with everyone is they have that liberty to bring their own characters to life, which to me, I think helps us as writers really write for them better as these actors are bringing, their own, line changes, alterations, character tone to the stage, if you will. It really helps us in the writing process, which is such a fun collaborative experience. So it really does feel more like a repertory group than anything else.
And boy, do they have some opinions sometimes.
So, do either of you have a favorite? Do either of you have a favorite scene or character development from this season that you're just like, oh wow, this was worth the wait?
So, yes. You want to go, Scott? You go, Scott. You go first, Scott.
I was going to say it hasn't aired yet, I don't believe, but there's a scene coming up where one of our characters is, let's say, chem tested with a new character that I'm really excited for this new potential relationship to blossom. So yeah, there's a particular romance on the air, on its way, that I'm thrilled to dive into.
Is this the new civic role that we've introduced?
Good catch.
The
Yes.
interesting thing about that one though is we weren't expecting it. Like, we were wanting it to be something, but it's more than what we could have ever wanted.
Yeah, I mean, so there's a couple of like romances that are developing through and here's the thing. Anybody that knows me knows that I swore off love 100 years ago, and I've sworn myself to be a childless cat lady for the rest of my life. But in this season, there are so many romances happening between all of these. You make fun of me because I text you. I'm like, this is gonna be our new super couple, and you're like, stop saying that. You say that about everybody. I'm like, but I just love what I'm seeing. I love seeing the love between all of them. So there's a lot of relationship developing. But Scott, if we're talking about the same ones, and I think maybe we are, that is the one that I'm most excited for. And I don't know if I can put it into words yet, but it feels like that Bo and Hope for me. It feels like that Luke and Laura for me. It feels like there's something genuine and beautiful in it that I'm excited to see, to explore and see it.
Well, and these two characters, like, it's never going to be one's up here, one's like, they're always going to be like, okay, we're on
the same level.
This is where our beliefs are. We're not going to change. And just because we are in love with you doesn't mean we're going to go this, like, it's going to create just a lot of fun.
Yeah. So super excited for that.
And I just feel like it's going to be more of a raw sort of based in, I think there always has to be in high octane soapy type of genres. I think there has to be at least one couple that's based in some sort of reality. And I think that's this couple too. Anyway,
Yep.
that's what I'm excited about.
I am probably, like I said, there's so many I'm super excited about, but I think the one that I'm most excited about is, and I think we've already met them, have we? Kelly's new person.
Oh, I thought that's who we were talking about.
Oh no, I think we were talking about somebody else, weren't we, Scott?
Yeah, we were. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
The
Great.
civic minded.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So the other one that I'm most excited about, and it's exactly to your point, Aaron, is that Kelly's new love interest for season 2. If the first read through with the two of them holds any ground to what these two are going to do together when they're in a scene together, I couldn't pull it together. I lost it, and for like 15 minutes I was laughing hysterically because their chemistry just works so well together. So I'm very excited to see what the two of these two do together. I know that Mitzi, who plays the role of Kelly, is traveling on vacation for our next record, and I insisted that we be able to work out with John, who plays Joe, that we have to work out some kind of schedule where they're together. They have to be in every scene together. It just has to happen.
Absolutely. So. Yes.
And you, Aaron?
What about you, Aaron? Do you have a favorite scene?
I am partial to any time Olivia's with her children or child. I don't know what it is about Harper and Olivia that I just adore.
It's the way they play off of each other. I totally agree with that. The way that George and Michelle just that's another one. And the thing is, I wish we could record in person because these people play so well off of one another. And it's like they just feed off one another's energy, and it just really, really works. Yeah, I totally agree. We have to talk about Ellie and Olivia, though, and their secret.
Yes.
Well,
my goodness.
The energy of the cast that once we're done recording, I'm like, I want to go work. I'm ready to work.
Yeah.
Episode. Like they have a lot of good energy. And I don't think a lot of casts have that.
Yeah, we're very blessed, and that we get that out of this group, and they're all very engaged. And
new scripts aren't coming. It's like, where's the new script? I'm ready to record.
Give me it now. Let's do it now.
And even wishing each other happy birthdays. In between everything, it's a community. You two have actually helped.
Or we're voting for each other's spouses and contests and all that other stuff. And we're like, vote for this person. I mean, and it's also the same way on Tomorrow's a New Day. Like we all voted for Chantal's husband, who's a teacher, and won him an award. Because we all rally behind them. So it's just, yeah, it's lovely to see this. And I don't know how. I'm going to be a little guarded in what I say, but Scott, you're going to know what I'm talking about. When we were talking to Sydney, I don't want to throw names out there, Aaron. We can talk about this offline if you want to. But when we were talking to Sydney, she said something that struck something with me. She's like, I get this feeling from listening to the show and talking to all of you that this feels something that you said earlier. This feels like a troop. This feels like a group of people and she called out a few groups that I have known for quite some time. And I was like, yeah, I can totally see that. And you know who I'm talking about, Scott. And Aaron, I'll tell you afterwards. I just don't want to say it and have it on air. But I was like, yeah, I can totally see that because these are groups that have gone on to do really big things. And I never want to compare us to that. But if that happened, that would be like the best thing ever with this. So.
Hey, there is still a chance. They are producing a new soap right here in Atlanta, Georgia. Well, like I'm right here in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm closer to y'all. The Gates or Beyond the Gates, I think is the
Beyond
name
the Gates. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So there is still a chance that we might have Beyond Old Cove.
See,
filming right
beyond the doors of Old Cove. I love it.
It does feel like we could be possibly entering some type of resurgence, and that's just an exciting time. Whether or not this stays just like a fun pet project as it is or not, it's exciting to work on this regardless. And for me, growing up a huge fan of of General Hospital. You know, I always had that pipe dream of being in the soap world, and here I am now. I consider myself part of the soap world, and I get to work with this amazing group that, surprisingly, because it is mostly through screen, feels like a family, and we work very well together. And speaking of chemistry, to have that chemistry with folks who are in another country, across the country, over screen, that you can actually have that chemistry bubble to the surface, I think has just been really phenomenal to see unfold naturally.
And I think that's important to highlight, is the global aspect of the universe that you've created, Aaron, and that it's not just us in Arkansas or Southern California and LA, but it is global. You're in multiple countries, dude. So
No,
sorry,
well,
what's the new word? You're in multiple countries, bro.
I don't know that bros knew.
Bruh.
Well, and that's, yeah, I had the idea, but it's everyone else that's involved that's helped make me be able to reach that. I couldn't do it without all of you. I did season 1, and that was rough, of Tomorrow's New Day. Doing that alone was so rough.
I can relate. Yes.
And
totally.
I am just like, how did I ever make 15 episodes?
And it's a lovely thing. And boy, I was hooked after that first one. I think I'm not sure exactly where in the timeline we connected, but I remember listening to that first episode, and I was like, oh, I love this, and I know who the killer is. And I remember I was messaging you on social media, and I was like, I know the killer. And I think I did it in a public forum, and everybody's like, how can you know? We've only aired one episode. All the actors were chiming in, and I was like, trust me, I know. And I made a timeline, like a family tree. And I was like, I'm going to memorialize this, because when the killer is revealed, I want to know I'm right. And I made a family tree, and I circled who I thought the killer was, and I sent it to you, and I was right. Well, I was 50% right, but whatever, I was right.
You were right, but just we twisted it a little bit.
You did twist it. That's why I say I was 50% right. Can we reveal that? Can we reveal that twist? That twist is out, right?
Oh yeah,
that's long out.
Lawrence has a twin, and the twin is actually who killed.
So I had guessed that it was Lawrence, and I had just like, I think it's Lawrence, and I had memorialized that, and it turned out it was Lawrence, but it wasn't Lawrence. It was actually an evil twin playing Lawrence.
Well, this is fun because, okay, think about the people you know that you talk to, that you listen to the show with. I've got someone who has a theory that Louis Abernathy is not dead. And
No comment.
I've repeatedly, because this is, unless I leave this show, Louis Abernathy is dead. Like, I have no intents and purposes of making him alive.
I have an idea to pitch you before you go hardcore on that.
Just because, like, to me, that kind of is the twist, in the sense that he is dead. It'd be like if Mary Alice just walked back up Wisteria Lane one day. It was like, just kidding. 8 years of watching y'all, I'm just kidding. You know.
No.
But I love when people do their theories about what they think. And
I was all in on. That's how we got to Old Cove. Is like, I was all in on Tomorrow's New Day on the first episode, and when you said you wanted to do a spinoff, I hit you up right away, and I was throwing ideas out left and right to this motherfucker. I was like, what if we did this? What if we did that? What if we did that? I was all in on it.
He was throwing everything but coins.
That's all right. I brought you some.
Always about money. I know you're kidding. I'm kidding back. Well, I sort of want to, I think we should talk about that too, is just, bringing Louis over and what our original intention was for the Old Cove format and kind of the production challenges that brought. Rick, did you want to maybe talk about that?
Yeah, it's a great point. So, and I think it's okay to talk about. One of the things that we really wanted to do was, I was very adamant about in the beginning, was like, with Kelly being the voiceover in season 1, the narrator rather, in season 1, I didn't want to mirror old Tomorrow's a New Day and the fact that she was really dead. So having her actually be alive and to be a podcaster, and this was kind of her narrating her episode expose or whatever was kind of always the goal. But then I wanted to, as we went into each season, I wanted to pick a different character in the series to be the narrator for that season. What we ran into difficulty wise, I think it would have worked if we had a visual forum, but we're audio only, and it's really hard to do, is getting that separating that nair from that character performance. So if that character is actually here present in a scene and narrating the scene, it became very confusing very quickly. Even for me who was editing it, I was like, holy shit, I don't even know what the fuck is happening right now. And so it just got very confusing very quickly. And I think that was kind of the number one motivator. I was like, I think we need to rethink this whole narrator piece of the thing that I wanted to do. It just didn't work for the medium.
It was a great idea until they're actually alive and you put them into the other. Then you got this person like, oh, so-and-so is handing that, but it's also the narrative. Like I said, it would totally work if it were in a visual medium where you could see the person walking into a building as you're hearing that person's voiceover or whatever. That would totally work. But in this medium, it just did not. You don't have that. So you were a little limited in what you could do. Oh, but man, we had some good ideas. We did. If it would have worked. And those ideas still get worked into other things. It's just, man, I was looking
for evolve, if you will,
something different.
But I'm not unhappy because that was always the big thing for me is how do we tie these two universes together? And I think that having Gregory come over and do Lewis really solidified that for me. Now I feel like it's part of the same universe, and I love it. And I'm happy that we ended up where we are. That's one of those happy accidents that we arrive at, right?
Yeah. And I think the beauty of that too is while of course we want fans of Tomorrow's a New Day to also be fans of Old Cove and vice versa, it does allow that opportunity for those who maybe only tune into one to understand who these crossover characters are, since Lewis is the connecting factor. So it's like sort of on him to explain them. And so that helps that ease and hopefully gets more people listening to sister podcasts.
See? And they're easy listens because they're 10, 12-minute episodes. So, what are you waiting for?
And almost every person I've sold this to trying to listen, even if it's taken them a couple asks, when they finally look at the listing, they're like, wait, these are short. And I'm like, that is what I've been telling you. You can easily power through these and they're fun to listen to in the car, etc.
That's what I always wanted. I didn't want anything too long because when I commuted to work, it was maybe about 30 minutes, give or take traffic. I would try to listen to some podcasts and I always would get to the point I'm like, oh, it's time to get out of my car.
The last 10 minutes. You can never get the last 10 minutes.
So I'll just be like, I'll just listen to it later. And then I'd forget about it. Or another podcast would come out. So I was like, I want something that from the short time of me going from Conway to Little Rock, I could listen to a full episode of a story.
Where's that? Never mind. Don't answer.
Because if it's a chat show, like kind of what we're doing here, it's not hard to listen to. You can kind of jump back in whenever. But when it's like an actual story, if it goes past it, like what a short commute to work is.
And then we had the opposite problem. We talked about this earlier. I had the opposite problem with people here. We live in LA and you can't get anywhere in LA in 20 minutes. It's a 40-minute minimum, especially in the morning, probably 50-minute commute. And I would have people like, I'm not going to listen because they're so short until I have 10 episodes in the queue. So that way it gets me through my commute because then I'm in the middle of my commute and trying to find a new podcast. No. So that was the problem I saw on my side. So I was like, all right, we'll find a happy medium here somewhere.
And that's the interesting thing, though, because our audience is worldwide. All of our commutes are different. All of our lives are different.
Indeed they are.
And they're never going to match up. So nothing we do is ever going to be super convenient for everybody.
Agreed.
Just like scheduling to record because we're all in different time zones.
That has been and kudos to Cynthia. She has taken up the mantle of scheduling, and boy, she's just on it. I love it because it's not easy to wrangle all those time zones and availabilities.
it's for
It
sure
is like herding cats. Yeah.
it's 3 different time zones, because we do have our narrators in New York, our production team is in Los Angeles.
Yep. Exactly. And half the cast is spread out all over the United States. So.
Mhm.
Well, we've prattled on here for a good 45 minutes or so. Let's end this with sort of on an upbeat. What are you guys most looking forward to coming up either this season or, well, should we keep it this season or can we say multiple seasons? I don't care. Whatever. What are you most looking forward to in this show?
I am looking forward to exploring more of these characters' backgrounds because, like, with Tomorrow's a New Day, I feel like I know those characters inside and out because, season 1 and part of season 2, most of season 2, I was writing all the scripts. So, like, I knew those characters. Now, having other writers, when you're right, like, I'm getting to see different, like, the onion peel or whatever you say with the other characters. Things I didn't think about. So, like, I love seeing kind of like where Quentin is going to go, or more about Olivia and Ellie's past. That's an onion I'm ready to peel.
That's the one I was going to say is Olivia and Ellie's past is the one I can't wait to dig into. And we've already talked about it and what it is and how and when it's going to lay itself out and everything. It's so fucking good. I'm just so excited for it.
And I want to see like how they became friends because these 2 characters vastly different. The one thing they kind of have in common is
the thing that bonds them together is the secret.
Well, their kids are friends.
Well, and they are, but I think
Harper and Ellie live close by, but they're still Olivia's running this big company, her brand, and Harper has his brand. And then to me, Ellie's kind of this just good old mom, loves her kids, work, she's a survivor.
She's Reba.
Okay.
Reba.
I didn't watch a lot of Reba. So.
She's Reba.
She's a Reba in a sense. She's a single mom who works 2 jobs. Who loves her
kids. What about you, Scott?
Amazing. For me, I'm just excited to get to the point that we, backstory is everything, that we can get to the point that we can actually pull from our own history too. Like that part is like just really building the layers upon layers and just having such a dense universe to actually pull from our own arsenal. That's exciting to me. And I love that as a writer, just sort of the Venn diagram of it all is very exciting for me. And that's what I'm most looking forward to.
But we have to promise ourselves right now we'll never rewrite anyone's history to accommodate a storyline like a lot of these soaps do.
We
agreed. Never rewriting history.
We kind of did a little bit with one person. I'll have to tell you off screen, but that's different. Well, no, maybe because we don't know much about them, so it's not rewriting it.
No, if we did it in the background.
Yeah, you have to remember what we know. Yeah.
Yeah, but if we've already put it out, I don't think we can. If it's already out, I don't ever want to change it. We just have to work around it. And make it work.
Okay, yeah. That I was thinking differently.
I think I know what
that's a good vow to make between us and to our viewers, listeners. Yeah.
Well,
you heard it here.
Never to have people who technically would have grown up together, even if they were adopted into the family or date. Days were alive.
Yes.
Kayla and Steve's daughter. I swear the only people she's ever dated has been technically relatives. I'm probably wrong, but she's trying to get with Alex, who technically she would have grown up with Alex. Even though if I knew someone was my cousin and then you come to town, I'm not going to be like, oh.
Well, General Hospital has at least 5 sibling cousins. So, yeah, let's not do that either.
I'd rather bring in a whole new family and just slowly.
There you go.
Let them work in.
All right. Well, thank you guys for getting together and doing this. I'm very excited for the very first episode and the behind the scenes of Old Cove. So, welcome to the writer's room, people. Many more secrets to reveal.
Thank you.